Raiders fans, what a whirlwind this season has become. And every time we think the drama might slow down, something else happens on that field or on that sideline that throws gasoline on the fire. And today, the whole conversation once again turned to Gino, the quarterback who can't catch a break from anyone, not even from the fans who once cheered his every throw. You could feel the tension building the moment he stepped onto the field, and honestly, at this point, even he has to be exhausted from hearing all the noise. Raiders fans are passionate, loud, intense, and sometimes even a little too real. And when the performance on the field falls short, they let you know instantly. So when Gino walked off after another rough outing and rumors started flying that he might have flipped someone off in the stands, a lot of people weren't even surprised. And the crazy part is, most fans weren't even mad at the gesture. They were more like, well, at least he showed some emotion for once. Because that's what this relationship between Gino and the fan base has turned into, a back and forth where both sides feel fed up, both sides feel misunderstood, and both sides are convinced the other one is pushing things too far. And you know what? It's hard to blame either side completely. Raiders fans have been watching mistake after mistake and waiting for that breakout moment from the guy who was supposed to bring stability. Meanwhile, Gino has been hearing the boos, the chants, the frustration, and probably dealing with the weight of knowing that every pass he throws is under a microscope. So when he shows a little frustration of his own, people act shocked, but should they really be? If you get pushed long enough, you eventually react, and today felt like the moment where everything boiled over for him. But even with that being said, flipping people off or hugging fans after the game wouldn't have changed the narrative. He could have thrown 3 touchdowns today, and folks would still find a way to blame him if the Raiders didn't walk away with a win. That's how deep in the mud this situation has gotten. Ever since that press conference last week, when he basically told everyone to put the blame on him, the pressure only grew heavier. And when you point the finger at yourself in front of cameras, fans take that as permission to pile it on even more. Raiders fans love passion, love effort, love seeing a player fight for the team, but the moment they feel like you're pointing back at them, man, the temperature changes. You could practically feel the shift inside the stadium. It's like fans said, "Oh, you want us to direct it at you? Fine, here it comes." And once that switch flips, the crowd becomes relentless. They hunt for weaknesses, they poke, they prod, they dig, and eventually something cracks. That's what we're seeing now with Gino. Whether he really flips someone off or not almost doesn't matter anymore, because the bigger story is that it looks like the pressure is breaking him down. And once a quarterback hits that point where frustration starts showing up on the field, it becomes hard to imagine him finishing the season as the same player. Maybe, just maybe, this pushes something out of him and he rebounds with fire. Maybe the claws come out like some fans are hoping. Some people even started chanting for AOC, and that right there tells you everything about how rough this season has been. Because fans seem to have forgotten that AOC was never some miracle quarterback waiting to save the team. He struggled too. He had his own issues. But right now, Gino has been playing so poorly that people are convinced the backup is automatically the better option, even though the tape tells a different story. No quarterback is going to magically thrive behind an offensive line that collapses this fast. You could put anyone back there and they'd still get swallowed up. The pressure comes so quickly that almost every snap feels like a survival drill. And yes, Gino deserves blame for a lot of what's happening, but it's impossible to pretend the offensive line isn't a massive part of this downfall. When a quarterback actually does get time and still misses throws, that's on him. When he gets time and still makes the wrong read or sails a pass over a receiver's head, that's on him. But when the pocket caves in 2 seconds after the ball is snapped, that's not on the quarterback. That's a system failing from the inside out. And we've seen Gino with protection before. He could be a top 12 quarterback when he has time, when he has a clean pocket, when the offense around him is clicking. But that version of him hasn't shown up in Las Vegas because the situation here is completely different. What's wild is everyone assumed he'd bring that mobility and creativity from his previous team, that he'd be able to scramble out of pressure and make something out of nothing. But every time he tries to run, it looks like something goes wrong. He's stumbling, losing balance, freezing up, like he can't quite decide what to do next. We watched it happen in past games where he had open lanes and just went down instead of pushing forward. And then again today, when he had open space near the end zone, it was like once he cleared the first defender, he suddenly forgot how to finish the play. You could almost hear fans groaning in unison. These aren't small mistakes. And when you're the starting quarterback of a team that's desperate for wins, these moments become huge. In the press conference afterward, he said it again, "Put the blame on me." And at this point, that quote almost feels like a routine. He knows he's playing badly. The fans know it. The coaches know it. Everyone watching knows it. And saying the same line every week doesn't fix anything. It just puts the spotlight on him even harder. And he's the one who opened that door in the first place. When you tell the entire world to blame you, people take that seriously. Now, every mistake feels magnified. Every bad drive leaves fans shaking their heads. Every miscommunication becomes another reason for the booing to get louder. And that's exactly what happened today. The crowd let him have it the moment his name was announced. The boos were echoing across the stadium before he even took a snap. And during the game, every misstep brought them right back. But then something funny happens at the end of games like this. The same fans who were yelling at him all night are suddenly lined up at the tunnel calling his name, asking for gloves, shouting for autographs, reaching out for high fives. It's one of the weirdest dynamics in sports. The same people who just finished tearing you apart want a picture with you 5 minutes later. And that right there shows the complicated relationship between athletes and fans, especially in a place like Las Vegas, where passion runs high and the expectations never slow down. Fans want to win. They want excitement. They want something to believe in. And when the offense keeps stalling and the same mistakes repeat week after week, that frustration spills over. But the moment players get close enough for interaction, that frustration turns back into admiration. It is almost like the fans are living in two emotional worlds at once. The one inside the stadium during the game, where everything feels like disappointment, and the one near the tunnel, where they remember these guys are still heroes compared to the average person. But for Gino, that doesn't make anything easier, because he is the one wearing the jersey, he is the one taking the hits, he is the one hearing the boos, and he's the one trying to figure out how to get this offense moving before the season slips completely out of reach. He knows the responsibility lands on his shoulders, even when the offensive line is collapsing like a folding chair. He knows the fan base has lost patience. And he also knows that right now, every mistake he makes is being replayed in slow motion across social media, magnified as if he is the only one responsible for the chaos. The coaching staff feels that pressure too, because whatever they're drawing up is not translating onto the field. When you get sacked 10 times in a single game, something is fundamentally broken. That is not just bad luck or a couple of misassignments. That is a system failing in real time. And when the offensive game plan tries to adjust and still cannot keep the quarterback upright, the criticism grows louder. People start pointing fingers at everyone from the offensive line coach to the coordinator. And the hard part is they're not entirely wrong. The mistakes are piling up, and if the coaching staff cannot fix the protection issues, then the offense has no chance to breathe. Even when the team tried to switch up the tempo today and move into a fast-paced approach, where the ball was supposed to come out quickly to avoid pressure, it still fell apart. 10 sacks with an adjusted game plan tells you the problem goes deeper than simply changing the rhythm. It almost felt like defenders were getting through untouched at times, breaking into the backfield before plays could even develop. And when that happens, a quarterback can only do so much before breaking down mentally and physically. That is why comparing Gino to other quarterbacks does not make much sense. You could plug almost anyone into this situation and the results would not look much different. Some fans forget that even top-tier quarterbacks look average when the walls close in around them. But in Gino's case, every flaw he has ever shown is being exposed all at once. The missed reads, the hesitation when running, the lack of pocket awareness at times, all of it is stacked on top of the protection issues. This is not just a quarterback struggling. This is a quarterback drowning in a situation that does not give him room to breathe. Some fans argue that bringing in AOC would spark something different, but that is more of a reaction built from frustration than actual logic. AOC struggled too, and people seem to have selective memory about that. Just because the current starter is struggling does not mean the backup becomes a savior overnight. It is like the crowd is searching for hope anywhere they can find it, and the idea of change feels better than dealing with the same problems. But switching quarterbacks does not magically fix fundamentals, and fundamentals are exactly what this team lacks right now. The pressure is so heavy that even moments that should be positive end up overshadowed. Early in the game, Gino almost connected on a deep pass that would have shut up the critics instantly. But when the timing was off and the ball didn't land where it needed to, the crowd reacted the same way they have all season. That single miss turned into a storm of frustration, building into a wave that rolled over every remaining drive. And from that point on, it seemed like no matter what he did, the fans were locked into their mindset. But the irony is that fans do not always realize how their own reactions impact the players on the field. When you walk into a stadium and hear boos before you even take a snap, it messes with you. Even confident players feel that weight. And Gino is not the type who hides his emotions. You can see it in his body language, his facial expressions, the way he moves after a bad play. When he feels the environment turning against him, it affects the entire tone of the offense. That is not to say he should be immune to criticism, but when the negativity builds before the game even gets going, it creates a hole that becomes harder and harder to climb out of. And then there is the moment everyone keeps discussing, the idea that he might have flipped someone off as he was heading to the locker room. Whether that really happened or not almost doesn't matter anymore, because it symbolizes how strained things have become between him and the fan base. If he did it, then it shows he has reached a breaking point. If he did not do it, the fact that everyone believes he could have is a sign of how tense everything is. Either way, it represents this moment in the season where everything is boiling over faster than anyone can cool it down. When he says in the press conference, once again, put the blame on me, it almost loses meaning at this point. Fans have heard it too many times. It feels more like a habit than a solution. And yet, what else is he supposed to say? He cannot throw his teammates under the bus. He cannot call out the offensive line. He cannot blame the coaching staff. He has to carry it all on his shoulders, even when the pressure is crushing him. It is part of the role, part of the job, but that does not make it any easier to watch. And while the fans have every right to express frustration, the funniest part is how quickly things switch the moment the game ends. Inside the stadium, during the moments that matter, the energy is overwhelmingly negative. But outside the tunnel afterward, everyone wants to get close to the same players they just spent 3 hours yelling at. They want autographs, they want gloves, they want that moment of interaction. It is one of the most bizarre dualities in sports, but it is something you see over and over again. The anger fades the moment players come within arm's reach. The truth is, both sides care. The fans care deeply, maybe too deeply. The players care too, even when it does not look like it. Nobody on that field wants to lose. Nobody wants to be the reason a drive collapses. Nobody wants to be the target of boos echoing through a stadium. But right now, with everything falling apart, it feels like every part of this offense is being overwhelmed at the same time. Mistakes, miscommunication, protection breakdowns, missed throws, all piling up into a storm that grows heavier every week. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are already swirling around Las Vegas as the Raiders appear to have pulled off a move that could shake up the league in the coming seasons. Sources close to the organization suggest that the Raiders have signed quarterback Jalen Milroe to a 3-year deal, igniting speculation about what this could mean for the team's offensive strategy. While details of the contract remain closely guarded, insiders hint that the Raiders see Milroe as a player who could redefine their approach under center, offering both mobility and a fresh arm to a team hungry for consistency. Fans and analysts alike are buzzing with theories. Some wonder if Milroe's arrival signals a potential shift in the Raiders' depth chart, possibly altering the trajectory of the team's quarterback room. Others suggest that this could be a strategic move to inject youth and versatility into an offense that has struggled with predictability. The combination of Milroe's skill set and the Raiders' penchant for high-risk, high-reward plays has already become a talking point across social media and sports forums. Rumors are also swirling about how the Raiders' coaching staff plans to integrate Milroe into their system. Will he immediately take on a starting role, or is this a longer-term investment, groomed behind veteran leadership until the time is right? The uncertainty has sparked heated debate among pundits, with some claiming this could be the start of a new era in Las Vegas, while others remain cautious, noting that success will hinge on chemistry, adaptability, and Milroe's ability to handle the pressures of a high-profile environment. Even rival teams are reportedly taking notice. Scouts and front offices are keeping a close eye on Milroe's development, anticipating that the Raiders might quietly be preparing a tactical advantage that could catch opponents off guard. Meanwhile, fan speculation has reached fever pitch, with forums and podcasts dissecting every potential play style, from read option packages to deep shot tendencies, imagining how Milroe could reshape the team's offensive identity. Whether this is a masterstroke in long-term planning or an experiment with high stakes, one thing is certain. Jalen Milroe's name is now firmly linked with Las Vegas, and the rumor mill isn't showing signs of slowing down. Every practice, every preseason snap will be scrutinized, feeding an insatiable curiosity about how the Raiders intend to leverage their new quarterback. In a city already known for its flash and drama, Milroe's arrival promises plenty of both. If the whispers turn into reality on the field, the Raiders might just have the league talking for years to come. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.